Hi there, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the My GBC podcast. Today, I've got Claire, our producer, with me, and we've got a bunch of questions from you guys that we asked on GBC's main Instagram account, and you all responded and sent us a bunch of questions. We did another series before where we responded to a couple of these questions, but these are the rest of those questions that we didn't get to answer then, so we have them for today. And yeah, so we're super excited to dive into them and share out our thoughts, our stories. And yeah, I have Claire with me. So, Claire, if you want to say hi.
Hi, happy to
Hello.
be here. And I'm glad that we're able to wrap up the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
When we initially sent out the question on the Instagram story of like what do you need answered? What are your burning questions? What do you want to know? We got a lot of responses. So we did have to break it into these two separate episodes. So if you listen to the first one, thank you for waiting for the second one to come out. Um, so in this episode, we're addressing all those questions about registrations and applications. So we reached out to the registrar's office to get the all the correct answers for you. We're also going to talk about jobs, how to get on-campus jobs, or like who you could reach out to for that. And then the final thing that we're going to talk about is we got a really, well, what I find is kind of a cool question that came in that was just asking like, what's the cheapest grocery store?
Mhm.
Where can we,
That's a valid question.
yeah. So in order to answer that question, we actually sent out another story question poll
Mhm.
where we asked you all, what's your cheapest grocery store in your neighborhood? So then we can get a bunch of different responses. And I tallied up all the responses, and there was a winner for the most common response of the most affordable grocery store. And then there were some other answers too of some like independent grocery stores around. Anyways,
Mhm. Nice.
food is important, so
Of
we thought
course.
we'd try and find a really good answer to that question.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, let's get started with the registration questions.
Okay, yeah, let's do this. So, yeah, as Claire mentioned, our first group of questions are about registration and applications. And so, one person asked that, can I change my schedule from offline to online? They said that most of their classes are offline already, so they want to just change it. So, when we asked the registrar office how they can do this, they said that students must complete their registration online via StuView, which we always do, and choose from the blocks or individual course options that are available. So then when you are doing that, you can see whether the courses are online or offline. And you can also contact your academic department for assistance if a special timetable is required for you, such as switching one course from their schedule to in person or online. But for the most part, if you choose from like the list when you're choosing your courses and it says offline and online, unless something happens and they want to change it, that's the way it is gonna be happening. I think it's pretty rare that like they would have both an offline class and online class for the same course. But yeah, usually what you choose is what you get at the end. At least for my program, I guess like because we're a smaller program, we don't have like a lot of options.
Mm.
But I would assume that's pretty much the case for all of our courses, unless maybe there's like a program that has like a lot of people in it and they want to see like some people want to come in person or online. But I think, yeah, what you choose is what you get, pretty much. That's the conclusion. Okay, and we had another question regarding registration, and that was, when can I expect to get results for my RPN college application? So, because your question is pretty specific to your application, you will need to contact the admissions office for an update on the status of your application. So, you can email admissions@georgebrown.ca for further assistance. We're going to put that email in the show notes as well, so you can refer to that. And you should please include your George Brown College student ID number in the email, so there is not like a back and forth of them asking, oh, okay, we understand your issue. Now, what is your student ID? So, always it actually is suggested that when you're contacting like the admissions office or any department within the school and you have some sort of like ask for them, that you include your student ID just to make the whole process easier and reduce the back and forth.
Yeah, best practices for email
Yeah,
college
for sure.
administration.
Yeah. Now we have a question about paying fees. Claire, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so someone asked, they said, I paid my fee, but I'm not able to choose my timetable. So the registrar's office said that this would require additional investigation in order to understand why students cannot choose their schedules. So they said if this was your question, you should call/email the contact center if it is an access issue. And you can find the contact center information on the George Brown website, or we'll put it in the show notes here. If they have a hold on their account that prevents registration, they should follow the instructions online in StuView. And also, you should email registration@georgebrown.ca or complete the request for support unable to register due to full blocks/courses form. Ooh, that's a mouthful. So the title of the form is Request for Support Unable to Register Due to Full Blocks/Courses. And that form is on the page during the web registration window if all blocks courses are full. Okay, so I guess that form will be available when you're registering.
Yeah.
And they should also contact the academic department that they're registering for if there's a scheduling conflict or to request a special timetable. So there's a couple options there. And we will also put the contact center contact in the show notes, and I'll copy those email addresses as well and put them in the show notes. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so our next question is about the spring 2024 intake and how can people do the online registration for that? When is it starting? So the registration dates for the spring summer 2024 term are posted on StuView on March 1st, so they're already posted. You can go ahead and check them. And again, you have to go to StuView for checking your program's registration start date and time. But online registration for spring summer 2024 is staggered and begins on Monday, March 18th, 2024. So that means the first program that is allowing you to register, they are opening it up on March 18th. But your specific date for your program might be later than March 18th. So you just have to go ahead to StuView and check that. And the last day to register for a program is the fifth day of the term. And this is also the last day to add a course to your schedule or to switch sections. Let's say like if you're in a section-based program, then you could like switch your sections. And yeah, that's what you can do for your spring 2024 registrations.
Awesome. We had a question that said, I want help regarding PGWP application and how can I apply and when? So the answer we got from registrar's office was, in this case, you should connect with your International Student Advisor, ISA. And you can find your ISA by visiting this long website URL, which is essentially the international student page on the website. And then if you click on International Student Advisors Contact, that's the page that it is. But I will copy that link in the show notes for this show, so you'll be able to find it there.
Yeah, and if you just like open your browser and search like International Student Advisors, George Brown College, it definitely comes up and it's based on like again like your location basically. So let me give you an explanation. If you don't know what a PGWP is, that's the postgraduate work permit. So it's only for international students who are here for studying and then they want to get a work permit to start working after finishing their school. So that's why you have to go to the International Student Advisors to seek help. But then international student advisors, depending on what country you are coming from, there are different advisors. So you just choose like, let's say like I'm from the Middle East, then you would choose like the Middle East advisor, and then that person would be able to help you. I also know that the International Student Department, they host some sessions about PGWP and their application and how it goes basically. So if you contact them, I'm sure they'll be able to give you the exact date of like when are these workshops happening. And I think they happen like a couple of times per year.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was for PGWP coming from an international student who knows that
Yeah.
she has to expect to do that. Okay, so our next question is somebody has said that I am yet to pay my second semester fee, but have done my course registration. Will I be able to attend class? So the balance of fees due date is the day 10 of the classes for each term, and a non-refundable late charge will be applied if payments are received after the due date. And registered students may still attend classes. However, a financial hold will be placed on the student's account. This accounts receivable hold will prevent future registration and restrict students from other services, as well as access to academic records, such as, but not limited to, transcripts and credentials. So basically, you would be able to attend classes, but the hold will be on your account, and you might have to like, not might, you will have to pay like a late fee as well, which I think is around $150 if you miss the payment or miss the deadline technically. Yeah, and you might not be able to receive some like resources like, if you want to get your transcript or your credentials and all of that, you have to pay in full to be able to get that. Another question that we had is that I have applied to the college, but I still have no answer. Is it hard to get into George Brown College as an international student? So we understand that the admissions process can be a stressful time, and we apologize that we are unable to provide exact processing times due to the high volume of applications that we receive. But you have to be assured that we are working diligently to review all the applications thoroughly and fairly. And the short answer I would say is that no, it's not really like dependent on like whether you're an international student or a domestic student. It's just that there's a lot of applications and it takes time for the admissions office to go through all of them. And again, like whether you're getting accepted or not, it really depends on your application and what you have submitted. They've also asked us to mention that if the application is incomplete or we need more documents, such as like a portfolio, if your program requires a portfolio for you to submit, or an English proficiency test result, or other things, then they will advise at the time of the processing by email to you that like you have to submit these. And they also said that please do not reopen your application in the online application system to check the status of your application, because this will result in your current place being lost and your application will move to the back of the processing line. So yeah, please do not reopen your application because you'll go back to the end of the line, which is kind of
It's a
sad.
pro tip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To know.
I know. Yeah, it is actually very good to know because I'm sure a lot of people would try to kind of understand where they are, but do not reopen the application.
Okay. All right, so now we're talking about jobs. There were two questions about job fairs and about how to get jobs in for specific fields. So for architecture, or for the other one was about international business. I reached out to the person involved in organizing the job fairs, and he said he let me know the fairs that have already happened. So
Mhm.
an architecture job fair happened a few weeks ago. There's a skilled trades and engineering one March 20th. The business one already happened earlier in March, and the culinary school one also happened last month. So basically, what he said was like, you will probably get information about this most likely through your George Brown emails. So if you want to know ahead of time when the job fairs are going to happen, make sure to check your George Brown email. That's where they'll be sending that information. They may also post it on social media. So if there is a social media account for your program, or there might be some information through the main George Brown account, GB College, at GB College. But that's not as reliable as I would say just checking your emails for the job fair information.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, and then we had just general questions about how to get an on-campus job.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, on campus job, I think I am pretty eligible to answer this question as I have had many, many jobs on campus, I think, at this point. So, the short answer is you can reach out directly to on-campus groups and departments. But my first suggestion would for you be to like actually check out the GB Careers website, because pretty much all on-campus jobs are posted on GB Careers. We actually have jobs that are off campus as well posted there. There's a big, big list. So make sure that you're checking that. And most likely, the different like departments or groups within the school will be hiring near the end of each semester or the beginning of each semester for positions that are like, let's say they're starting at the beginning of the next semester, then they would hire at the end of the previous semester. So now, if you're like, let's say, like we're at the end of the semester, it's a good time for you to start asking and reaching out to people to be like, oh, are you going to hire? And even if they will be posting their job on like the GB careers, it's always a good practice to reach out to people just because then they will know you personally and they would know that, oh, this person is interested enough to like send an email besides just like going on GB career. So that again shows your passion and will increase your chances of getting a job. But generally, you can reach out to Student Life for jobs regarding like helping on campus events. We have the student orientation team, which is a different team from the Student Life team. They also do hire orientation ambassadors, which are basically students who will help with organizing the orientation event. Will also throughout the year they organize a bunch of like workshops and generally like help the orientation team. We have the tutoring and learning center. They have jobs about like helping tutor other students in areas of English, math, sciences. There's a series that you can apply if you are like good at any of these. You can apply to become a tutor. We have the Peer Mentor Plus program. So it's for jobs like helping support students emotionally, socially, and in community gathering settings. We have the community club, LGBTQ plus support groups, and international student support groups. There's a variety, so you can reach out to the Peer Mentor Plus program to see if you want to help out with that. We have the Black Student Success Network for jobs helping support Black students in academics and with social events. And we have the Student Association, which they have like jobs for students regarding like their understanding their health benefits, get access to like affordable food, which is their SNAP program, get legal aid, help lead social events, and there is a lot of different things going on. And besides these are like a few of the departments and groups that we have on campus. There is actually more. There are jobs that are related to your program specifically. For example, I know a bunch of people that do like research projects, and for that, I would suggest that you reach out to your like program advisor or program coordinator and your professors because they do have different sorts of like research projects or like different sorts of projects. It doesn't have to be always research as well that they need students to help them with. So definitely reach out to them as well to see if there is anything available. Okay, that was a lot, but that was about on-campus jobs.
And
But
one I was gonna, sorry, just add that when you were talking about like the best time to apply for jobs, I also remembered that the student association usually actually does their hiring for the fall in the spring. So
yeah,
if you know that you're going to be a student in the fall semester and you want to work with the student association, check out their job descriptions and postings coming up soon. They're probably going to post them pretty soon. So that means like you would apply for the job, maybe do an interview, and if you get the job, you won't start working it until the fall. So they kind of like
yes.
really preemptively hire ahead of time
Mhm.
for maybe not all of their positions, but a lot of their positions.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, just keep in mind again the deadlines and stuff because they are very important. But yeah, okay, now we have some opinion questions that are more subjective, I guess, less about school. So I'm gonna pass it on to Claire to take care of that.
Yeah, so I called this opinion question because this is the one about the grocery store where we just reached out again to all of you and asked, what's your opinion? What is the most affordable grocery store? We received 39 answers on our Instagram story question about that. And the leading answer for the most affordable grocery store was drum roll. I'm doing my own drum roll over here
Yeah.
on the desk. Uh,
We
it's
can't hear it, but I'm sure it's a nice drum roll.
Oh, okay. Um, no frills. Ta-da!
No frills.
Which is
Ta-da!
what I
Okay.
would have chosen as well.
Yeah.
So 10 of the answers were for no. It was a pretty like actually there were a lot of answers for other grocery stores as well. So 10 were for no frills,
Mhm.
6 people said Freshco, 5 people said Walmart, and 4 said Food Basics. So no frills wins. if you have a No Frills in your area, that's the place to go for the most affordable groceries these days.
Mhm.
But I also want to shout out to some of the independent store answers we got. So someone just said like Chinatown, just go to Chinatown. Um, that sounds like a good option as well. And B Trust Supermarket, which is in North York at the corner of Keele and Wilson Ave. That is a recommendation. Also Fortino's in North York, North Etobicoke, Woodbridge area. In all of those areas, there's a Fortino's. Iqbal Foods, which is there's a location in East York, north of the DVP, and Panchvadi for Indian food. So there are different locations of that store in Etobicoke, Rexdale, Scarborough, North Scarborough / Markham. And my favorite answer, someone said, my mom's house. That, of course, is
True.
the
That's
cheapest
a privilege.
bar. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for your answers, everyone, and for letting us know the answer to the grocery store question and for sharing that with all of your peers as well. So, check out those stores if you're in those areas.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another store that is maybe worth like getting a shout out is that
Mhm.
we actually have Costco as well, which I don't personally shop from Costco just because, first of all, there are certain situations with Costco. Like, first of all, I think you need to kind of have a car
Yeah,
to go there just because it's far. Is that why people need a car? Or you also need a membership?
I think because the amounts of things, like everything's in bulk, so it's
Yeah.
hard to like walk that
Yeah.
home.
Okay, yeah, so that's the thing with Costco. Like everything is in bulk. So I've heard people who have like roommates, they're like, I don't know, a couple of people, they
Mm,
usually get like one membership together and like they go
okay.
like once a week or once every 2 weeks and they buy in bulk and then they are like sharing the food. But otherwise, I think if you're like just like one person or two people, it's
Yeah.
probably not worth going to Costco. But again, if you have a lot of roommates, like 4 or 5 people maybe, and a car, or you want to rent a car, I have a friend that actually it's their weekend activity that they rent a car. They go
Oh,
all the way to Costco for shopping and they come back. They believe it's very fun. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that,
okay.
but
That's how you get your kicks, then
yeah,
it's all worth
yeah.
it.
So yeah, I thought that's also just worth mentioning in case people are interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but we are almost done. This was the end of our questions and end of this episode. I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for listening and being a part of the My GBC podcast. Your questions and your support, that means a lot to us and keeps us going. So thank you so much for sending us all of your questions. And thank you to Claire for being a part of this episode today with me and sharing her thoughts, especially about the grocery stores. We obviously loved that. That was the most important question. We all agree, definitely.
Eat.
Uh, yeah, indeed. And until next time, take care. Keep asking your questions if you have any from our GBC Instagram that we have. And I'll see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.